What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative and the weekly reading wrap-up. Every Friday, I like to come on and check in with all the things I've read, what I'm still reading, and what I plan to read next. But before I get into that, all of you who are participating in the Wine and Crime Thriller Book Club, I have in the Discord, I've got the voting up for the May pick. I've been taking all the suggestions you've been giving me in the suggestion channel. I've put them in a wheel, I spin the wheel, I get 3 titles and I'll put them up to vote on for the next month. That vote, you have until the 15th. There is one that is winning by a landslide, but just in case you guys haven't joined the Discord yet or you missed it in the suggestion channel, pop in and vote on one of those 3 titles. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, check the cards above for the announcement for a new book club that I started. We read The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. There are still folks reading it. I am absolutely loving all of the theories and the conversations we're having about it. So if you've read this book and you want to come see what everyone else is saying, or if you're reading it and you want to join in, you have plenty of time. And there's also going to be a live stream at the end of the month, the last Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we're all going to come together and just chat about it with our favorite glass of wine or any other beverage of your choosing. All right, now, what did I read? Holy smokes. Well, let's start with Gwendies' Magic Feather by Richard Chizmar. It is the second book in the Button Box trilogy. The first book was co-authored by Stephen King, and I believe the third book is as well. I'm really excited to get to the third one. I actually like this one a lot more than the first one. The first one was great. It did have some really good elements that just were not quite taken far enough to make me fall in love with it. It was middle of the road. I actually like this one a little more. We did not get any more really information on the button box, this mysterious device that we're just not sure what it does. Richard Ferris, the gentleman who gives the box to Gwendy, he tells her some information about it, not quite all. And then I believe that there is some things it does that is strictly up to the person who is operating the box. I have theories, but I don't have enough information to really know, and I want to know so bad about this box. Now, what we got here was a lot of really good character development on Gwendy. I think this Richard Ferris guy may be part of Stephen King's Dark Tower world. I won't say who that character is for those of you that have not read The Dark Tower, but I don't know, and I'm having trouble seeing him as that character because he's not terrible in this one. I am so conflicted. I cannot wait to read the last one in this trilogy to get some answers and some closure because I need it. I also finished The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. I absolutely loved that book. Loved. I cannot believe where we went in this story. I was not prepared. Even with the ending of book 1, I had an idea where we were going. I just didn't know the extent. Well, actually, my little mind only had a small idea of where we were going. What happened with all of these characters? So the 3 points of view we have from the first one, Varg, Elvar, and Orca. They're back in book 2, and then we get 2 more points of view that I won't say who they are for those of you that haven't read the first book, just to keep that as a little surprise for you. I like how Gwen started with 3 and he introduced the 2, and those 2 were important because we needed to get the perspective. We needed to know what was going on with these 2 other camps. But our other 3 characters just were not in the proper placement to do that. So the way he introduced them into points of view in this one, I thought that was a very, very clever device. I wasn't expecting to get further surprised with certain types of reveals in this one as I did from the first one. But gosh, John Gwynne, he really knows how to hide an ace up his sleeve. For those of you who might be wondering, is The Hunger of the Gods better than book 1? I can't say that. The things that make them great are so different from each other, which was really refreshing. A lot of times, the second book in a series will be almost the exact same as the first book, just a few things are different. It's completely different. It is an actual, honest to goodness continuation of the story. This plot moves forward at a breakneck speed, but it's still not fast enough. There are things that I was wanting to happen that I was just wanting to get on my knees and beg for to just hurry up and happen. John Gwynn does not let anything happen before he's ready to, but the action, the intrigue, just the emotion behind the characters, it just keeps you turning those pages. You do not want to. I had so much. In fact, I mean, I'm just all over myself stumbling here. I just love this book so much. For those of you who haven't read Hunger of the Gods yet, but it is on your TBR, you're going to be doing it very soon. I'm going to tell you, as your friend, when you get about 75% of the way through, do your best to block off a chunk of time where you can read that last 1/4% of the book in one go. The chapters are short. There is so much happening. You are not going to want to put it down. It will cause you physical pain to put it down and walk away from it. You're welcome. And moving on to The High King's Tomb by Kristen Britton, book 3 in the Green Rider series. Wow, you guys, Kristen Britton came back swinging in the 3rd book. I'm so glad I decided to press on and keep going. As I read my way through this novel, I think what was missing from book 2 that I loved so much from book 1 were certain characters. First off, there are 2 bad characters from the 1st book. They were really good bad villains. They weren't in book 2. They were back with a vengeance in book 3. I really enjoyed just any type of interaction with those characters. I also loved that we weren't in the past. The story was moving forward. There was even a bit of unrequited love that I don't typically like. But in this one, I did, only because there's one of the pairing that I really respect. I want to see where it's going. I'm not really into romance, but I like when a political match goes well or they end up respecting each other. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than that. Britton found that pacing again where she had a lot of really good intrigue or action or adventure that just kept me going, and I was not wanting to put this book down. I read it so fast. Absolutely loved it. I'm already looking forward to reading book 4 next month. I am so happy I was able to catch up to the read-along. For those of you who are interested, Feeny Reads is hosting a read-along of the Green Rider series. So if you're reading the series or you've read the series, I'm going to have that information linked down below if you'd like to join in the conversation with the rest of us. Just to keep the momentum going for the fantastic reads that I had this week, I also read Alma Katsu's The Fervor. I requested this arc on NetGalley. It got approved. I couldn't be more excited. Alma Katsu is an author I have seen a lot of buzz about on the internet, and I wanted to read something by her, and I happened to be on NetGalley and saw that The Fervor was available to request, and I loved the premise. So it takes place in World War II, when Americans felt so threatened by anyone of Japanese descent that they put them in internment camps. The Japanese people are a peaceful people. They went to these camps, they lived peacefully, they did their best to just regain normalcy, go about daily life as they would if they were not trapped in these prison camps. Now, while they're there, something happens. Looks like it's a common cold. It develops into so much more. And I love the way the author took true events that happened in history and she wove that together with Japanese folklore. The result was a horrifying tale. And it had, I did not know this going in, but my greatest fear, little 8-legged creatures, were all up in this book. And I was like, I cannot believe this. How did I pick the one book that's going to be all about spiders? And what I can tell you though, the book was so good, her writing was so good, that I made it, and I decided at the end of it that I was finally going to be brave enough to try Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Everybody loves that series, and it's always put me off because it's about sentient spiders. I don't know if I can handle it, but I've decided if I got through The Fervor, I can get through Children of Time. So that's what happened there. I'm gonna have a full review coming for The Fervor, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I hope to have that up very soon in the next couple of weeks on the channel. Next, I finished my reread of The Boatmore Butcher by Elle Stevenson. That's book 2 in the serial killer series, The Boatmore Butcher trilogy. It is even more brutal than the first one. And in this installment, for those of you who are like me, you love reading about serial killers, watching documentaries, the question is always why? What happened to make this seemingly normal person who's lived all their lives, never done anything, all of a sudden snap and start killing? What happened? Was it they have just been fighting this nature their entire lives? They were born this way, they had something happen to them that made them this way? What happened? How did it happen? Well, Elle Stevenson gave us the story behind the Boatmore Butcher. How it started. Oh, I loved it, guys. I loved it. And that's going to take care of everything I read. Let's talk about what I am currently reading. The only thing I have going right now is Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. I started it last week. I didn't get a chance to finish it yet. I am savoring every moment I spend in these pages. This is a story that was meant to be reread. And why do I say that? The first time I read it, I'm going to be brutally honest, there's a lot that went over my head that I didn't understand. The main characters are Roger and Dodger. And I know there's a lot of people who have been put off from reading this because they thought the names of the characters were ridiculous. If you just give it 3 chapters, you're going to get the explanation for where their names came from. And it is not silly. It's not ridiculous. What I loved most about this one was the relationship, the connection of the main characters, the twins, Roger and Dodger. The way that that story is written and what they go through is so good. And once you get to the end, you understand everything else that had happened building up to it. But on the reread, now that I know the ending, I know what happens, I understand more, I'm appreciating it so much more. And I bet every time I reread this book, I'm gonna love it even more. This is one of those that's a comfort read. It's one of those that just makes my heart so, so happy. Talking about being happy, I am so happy my neighbors have decided to have their carpets cleaned. Let me just wrap this up real quick because I'm really sorry about that noise coming from outside. All right, so that's everything I read, what I'm still reading. What am I going to read next? Essay Chakra Borty's The City of Brass. I am so excited to finally be reading the David Bond trilogy. I'm buddy reading this with my friend Penny. We are going to be talking about it in my Discord. So if you read it and you would like to see us chat about it as we make our way through, or you have it on your TBR this month and you want to join us, link is in the description down below. I am so excited about the David Bond trilogy. I cannot remember one single solitary thing about it. I just know I've heard about it for years. It's been on my TBR for years. It's a very well-loved trilogy. I'm excited to read it. It's a beautiful book. Every time I pick it up, I just marvel at the beauty of these covers. I hope you guys have had a fantastic week. Let me know how your week has gone in those comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.